adding to your collection, a former boy in blue. Here's a look at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Shockwave Gold Label Collection Eradicator. A Kryptonian AI superweapon, the Eradicator eliminated contaminating alien influences on Earth. It built the Fortress of Solitude before trying to convert the planet into New Krypton. It took Superman's form after Doomsday killed him, and on his resurrection, melded with Star Labs scientist David Connor. After joining Hank Henshaw's Superman Revenge Squad, the Eradicator served Zod's family. First, before we figure out what Eradicator's been up to this whole time, let's grab the tape measure, as we always do, and see how tall the figure stands. Now, he's not quite honestly at 7 inches. He's actually a few hairs shorter than that. Eradicator's pretty close, so I guess we could say he's about a 7-inch tall figure. Or that works out to be a figure that's about 18 centimeters in height. If Eradicator's body does look familiar to you, it's in fact because it's been used with other figures before. In fact, many Superman figures have used this very same body. The DC Rebirth Superman comes to mind, as well as I believe Superman Infected also shared this same body. But a figure I never seem to get the chance to bring in, it also happens to use the same body as Bizarro. Again, just getting the figure to properly stand here. Yes, the torso, yes, the arms, yes, the legs are all shared between the same two figures. Bizarro would have, of course, had a belt, which is something that Eradicator can't say he has. But in that, it looks like they are using all the same elements between the two shared bodies. Here's also what he looks like with DC Rebirth Batman. I just wanted to bring in Batman because he's going to be a little bit smaller of a build when you compare him with the likes of Eradicator that we're about to have a look at, or Bizarro that we've already had a look at. But now, let's have a look at the accessories that come included with the brand new Eradicator. The figure, first of all, comes included with the same circular black display stand that has, in this case, the DC logo branded down below and has one single peg. I'm drawing your attention to the fact it only has one single peg because in this case, like with all the other figures, he has 2 peg holes in the undersides of his feet, so you have to choose wisely which foot is going to get the privilege to use the peg. Move that to the side, though. That's ridiculous. Figure also comes included with a trading card. I love the look of this trading card. This also does have things about it that make me wish that this figure could have also possessed as well. One thing you may notice is that primarily, just by the way it's been lit and colored here, that the suit comes across more gray with a lot of dark shadows to it. I kind of wish, in fact, that they could have used more lighter gray, or in this case, kind of more this gray color, and used some darker kind of airbrushing over top of it. Get really a lot of paint. So in case like Eradicator here, you notice it even more so, the fact that his sleeves are just a barren black. Also, I wanted to point out the fact that the shape of Eradicator's head seems a little more narrower than the square head that we actually get for this figure. To flip this around, though, on the back, the real name in this case is N.A. And a very small paragraph read you can read for yourself, or it just happens again to be the same thing I read at the beginning of the review. I saved you guys the hassle of having to do that. But yeah, it's a nice looking trading card. Very much evoking the memories of collecting the Reign of Superman line. Now, of course, different designed Eradicator in this case, but still has very much similar things that made Eradicator so cool in the first place. He was the one I thought was Superman. Of course, we were all wrong afterwards. Let's move that to the side. The figure also comes included with a couple of gestured hands, and I feel like these are hands, yes, that we have gotten before. It's not quite the ones. In fact, let's just grab Bizarro here off to the side because I have him anyways, right? Just to compare the hands, yeah, they are using the same hand on this side, but I don't think it's actually, oh, it is in fact the same hand on this side of his figure's body as well. Obviously, it's done colored differently here. Primarily, it's mostly a black plastic, but you can see that they've added a little bit of additional orange here. It's okay, like I like that, but I also wish that the figure could have come included with some energy effects. Something to do, again, draw your attention to the trading card here. See how Superman, the Eradicator, at least, not Superman any longer, does have these little energy orbs that are around his wrists. This is something I wish could have come included with the figure. And I might still see, maybe I have something kicking around for Flash. That seems like something Flash would have. Maybe some electricity I could wrap around the arms of Eradicator. I mean, this does the job okay for right now. But either if they could have giving us maybe possibly translucent yellow hands, or at the very least, maybe like energy orbs, something that you could attach onto the hands. Leave it with me. Leave it with me. I'm going to see if I can find something in my tickle trunk. But anyways, though, these do swap out with the existing hands that he has. These are just closed fists for right now. I'm going to remove them anyways, just because, like, there's so much black plastic happening here for the sleeves. I want to bring a little bit of much needed color. To attach those, simply just plug them into place and do the exact then same on the other side. Just remove it from the peg, and then we'll go ahead and plug that back into place. That's doing something a little bit more just than having the black plastic. I love the fact there's a little bit of color here, but again, like, I'm going to have to see if I can find something. I want to bring something more to the table than just what we're getting right here. Hands aside, though, let's get a closer look at the head sculpt here. You know, again, like, it's a good looking head, but I feel like the head is maybe a little too squared. It looks really good from the side, but really when you're looking at it from the front, I feel like it needed to be a little bit more narrower than what we're actually getting here. The head sculpt is good, but it doesn't have a lot of paint. It has at least the goggles, or the glasses in this case, painted gold. Other than that, though, it's just really kept to the stock black plastic. But like, the hair sculpted really well. It looks really good, certainly from the side, and it looks really good from the front. It just doesn't, unfortunately, have any real paint going for it. Now, we are getting, of course, in this case, the Shockwave version of Eradicator, but I hope that we do get ourselves eventually a Reign of Superman, which I'm pretty sure everybody is sort of looking at this figure and thinking right away, I really hope we get a Reign of Superman Eradicator. And I got to think that that's going to be something that they're going to plan, because, of course, they probably could use a lot of the same mold here. The mold on this one, this particular body of I was going to say Batman, but of Superman, is a very stocky build. He's very broad in the shoulders, very thick, in fact, on the torso, and he's got more skinny, tapered off legs. He's a little broad on the shoulders, or a little bit broader in the body than I would have expected maybe for Eradicator, but I think the body works really quite well for it. I'll tell you the one thing I really like about this figure. Anybody want to guess what it is? If you were to say cape, you would be absolutely correct. I love this cape. It's not a cape I would want to see used a lot. I wouldn't want to have exhaustion from looking at this cape time and time again. But I gotta say, like, that's a great looking cape. This is a cape you could use for a Batman. This would be a cape you could use for another Superman figure. They have to get more mileage out of this mold. Please, McFarlane Toys, you got to use this cape again for another Batman or Superman figure, because it looks really cool, especially having it just blown to the side here. Because normally we don't get capes like this. We get capes, of course, that kind of fan out at the bottom like this, but never ones that really sway off to this extreme that what we're getting right here. The cape actually was a lot softer of a plastic than I was expecting then too. I thought actually it would be a harder plastic, but in fact, like, feeling it, it's very soft plastic and works really well, not only with the designing of Eradicator, but yeah, I would definitely like to see this get used again. Now, the Eradicator design normally would have the Superman emblem connecting straight then to the cape. There is, as you can see, some spaces, some gaps in between the two. I kind of wish that they could have brought these a little bit closer so they could have actually connected, but at least you've got them pretty close indeed. Now, again, a lot of color happening here. Mostly it's just the matte gray, matte black plastic that they would have used for the arms, would have used for the torso, would have used for the legs. And it's sort of split then in the middle, you've got the additional blue. And it looks to be the same type of blue that they would have used for the DC Rebirth Superman. Very similar type of blue. Gone completely, though, in this case, is the belt. Still, though, present is the sculpting of the tops of the boots. They've, again, just used the same mold, but it still is the markings there of what Superman's belts, or Superman's boots would have had. And then also Bizarro, just to bring him back in, also would have had still those markings of the M at the top of the boots. So it's something that's still there here on the figure. Again, on the bottoms, you have the peg holes on the undersides of his feet. I would certainly use a peg stand in this case, just because the way the cape is designed, and because he's using a bigger, broader body, he's a little bit more uneasy when it comes to him standing firmly, standing promptly. Anyways, though, let's have a look at the articulation here on Eradicator. Head is on a ball joint once again, so yeah, you can rotate it all the way around. Head does look down, and does look up, and you can also hinge it back and forth also as well. Because the cape is only blowing to the one side, you can quite easily bring out the arm on the one side, and really, too, because it's also using a softer plastic, let's not remove the hand in the process, but because it's also using a softer plastic, that cape gets out of the way completely when it comes to removing the hinges, moving the arms of Eradicator. You're going to be, a little bit more limited when it comes to moving the arms back and forth. This one side has no problems whatsoever. Both the arms also do have a bicep swivel. They do both also possess a double hinge on the elbow, and yeah, you can rotate the hands all the way around. The upper torso is on a ball joint. A little bit lower from that, you also have a secondary ball joint at the base of the abdomen. Once again, you're getting these softer kind of plastic trunks that they're using here. It helps certainly to get the joints moving. You're not going to be having anything in the way of the lower trunks. And again, you can move those legs forward, move the legs back. Mild swivel at the top of the thigh there as well. Double hinge here on the knee. And then you have the articulation up and down on the feet and rocking back and forth with, again, toe articulation. Always love when these figures have toe articulation. Again, overall, like a really nice looking figure. But again, my biggest thing while looking at a figure like this is always like the immediate thought of, and I hate to date myself by saying this, to look at a figure like this, I think of right away, I'd rather get a Reign of Superman Eradicator versus Shockwave Eradicator. I like that we actually are getting an Eradicator in this case, but I think for me at least, if I was to pick up only one Eradicator, I would rather get the one from Reign of Superman myself. Though he doesn't possess a whole lot of paint, Eradicator more than makes up for it with the stellar sculpt that they put not only in his head, but one of my favorite things about this figure, the big flowing cape on the back of his body, which actually did surprise me for how soft the plastic was that they used. Usually when you get capes, they're more of a rigid plastic. McFarlane's actually pretty good when it comes to softer plastic that they use, and I was really surprised with how soft the plastic was on the cape for Eradicator here. Not only did it not limit any of the articulation on the one side of his body that the arm is the closest to, but also it really helps to flow the cape a little bit better than having a rigid plastic that really doesn't do anything, just a big brick of plastic. But it works really well on this figure. I wouldn't want to see this cape be used to death. Selectively choosing, of course, what figures deserve this cape, I can think of right away a Superman and a Batman. Maybe a classic Superman or a classic looking Batman would work really well with this particular cape. But don't overuse it. That's the thing. The more you overuse it, the less impactful this cape would have. But be, again, very selectful and maybe put it on another two figures, a Batman and a Superman. I'd be very happy. Speaking again about reusing things, I would like to see them also maybe reuse this mold, maybe for an eventual classic-looking Eradicator that we could get from a Reign of Superman line. Maybe the head sculpt could be a little bit more narrower than what we're actually getting here with the more cubed-like head sculpt that we get here for Eradicator. But I definitely would like to see a classic designed Eradicator to go along with. Now, we did get a Superboy, but it's not quite really a Reign of Superman Superboy. We'll be looking at that figure in an upcoming review. It's kind of more of a modern-looking Superboy. But I hope that we're already getting teased with the Superboy. We already know we have Eradicator because we looked at him in this review. I hope this is all sort of leading to eventually a release of the Reign of Superman stuff. Because with McFarlane kind of going back, and it seems like now that he's sort of tested the waters with the more mini-series figures, or the characters that are tied into limited run comic runs, I hope that we're also going to be getting more classic stuff. I mean, I hate to date myself and be the old person that always likes the classic looking design costumes, but a case with like Eradicator and a case with the Superboy that we will be looking at in an upcoming review, I hope that we are going to be getting at some point Reign of Superman characters, Eradicator being pretty high on that list as well. What do you guys think, though, of Shockwave Eradicator? And would you guys be interested to get yourself a Reign of Superman Eradicator? Let me know down below in the comments section, and also let me know what you guys think of this cape. Isn't that just the coolest looking cape ever? Let me know what you guys think of the cape, please. I want to know your thoughts when it comes to the cape. One thing I also will say, too, is if you enjoyed this video, if you don't mind, why not hit with a like? And also, as well, if you're enjoying the content you guys are seeing, and let's even just say that you're new here. You just jumped on board this channel. Maybe this is the very review that's got you introduced to this channel and you'd like to stick around for more, then make sure you hit the subscribe button down below, and turning on the bell notification also helps not only get the reminders out there to you of when new videos are going to go online, but also helps this channel, and it helps the whole thing with the algorithm. Don't get me started with the way that the algorithm works. But anyways, it's definitely going to be a lot more DC Multiverse reviews coming your way. As always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.